Wow.
Oh,
Interesting year. Woo. We got a bunch to look forward to in 2022. We're going to lead off today's general sales meeting with our special guest speaker from CMC, Aaron. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good.
Aaron.
Good. So I just had a couple things that I wanted to go over today. One thing that I think some of you know, but I just wanted to make sure everybody knows, the one of the benefits for using me as the lender, is that when your customers close, they get the keys right there. They don't have to wait for funding. And I know some of you already know that, but I just wanted to make sure everybody knew, because that's kind of a big deal to some people because they're concerned about, closing at the end of the day or whatever it might be, that they're not going to be able to get into their house. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. Another thing I wanted to talk about was microwaves and appliances, things like that. I know we've had a lot of homes, and so as far as microwaves go, we're good. We just can send a letter to the customer and have them sign it, so stating that they know that they're going to get the microwave. It'll just be after closing, but that we know we have at least hopefully a temporary microwave in there if we can make that happen. So we're just kind of looking at those as they come case by case. So if you have one and you have a question, let me know. I know we've already talked about some that are closing this month, but if you have any, just let us know so that way we can work on it, make sure everything is ready to go for closing, and so that we have everything that we need. Any questions on that?
I have a question, Aaron.
Yes.
So what would be the proper procedure if we understand that the home will close without a microwave? Do we need to reach out to you to prepare that form or what?
Yeah, you can just let me know. A lot of the times I'll be checking with you guys right before closing, to see if it has a microwave or not. And then, yeah, what I'll do is I'll send the customer a little letter through DocuSign, and they just sign it stating that they know that the home is closing with a temporary microwave, and then that they know that, later after closing that they will be getting their permanent microwave. And I think we haven't had any trouble so far getting those temporary microwaves in there. Is that, if
That has not been my experience.
It has not?
Has anyone else closed with a temporary microwave?
I have, but the microwave went away and the people are wanting a temporary microwave. Apparently we have one temporary loaner.
Okay. So from how we do it, and I don't know, of course, on that end, but we take a picture with the temporary microwave, and I've closed up quite a few with just a temporary microwave with that letter, and haven't had any issues with that. Now I don't know afterwards if the microwave is leaving what people are saying.
No, it's the microwave that we're using is the one that is in the construction trailer, and it's only there to take the picture, and then they take it away.
And that part I don't know about. I hear nothing. Because for ours, the part just so we can make sure that it can close, what is being required is that it's having a temporary microwave in there. And then we take that picture, and what, I don't know what happens if, like Sarah, like you said, or no, I think Todd, you said that the microwave is then taken away and a customer wants a microwave. That part.
I can just say that I've done a couple, and I don't know if it's right or wrong. I mean, it's not really anything I don't think that's wrong about it, but I've actually purchased a microwave, set it in there, it looks real nice, and told them, I'm doing this for you, here it is. If you would like to use it, use it. If you don't, it's okay. I can take it out. I know that you're going to want to close on your home anyway. And, it's just having to adapt because of these crazy times. So I think they all understand, even if they're not happy.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've seen is people were like, okay, here's how it can happen. You don't want to wait for however long to get a microwave before you can close. So here's this temporary one. So we can, and sometimes the customers, I haven't had anybody that I know of, at least that I've heard from, that wasn't okay with, yeah, here's a picture, here's the microwave in here, sign this letter. And then I think most of them, yes, are going out after and the microwaves are leaving, but I think that's probably up to, yeah, the customer and each specific thing. And so like Ken, I don't know if that's an option to buy temporary microwaves. I don't want to, I don't want to say that that's a requirement that they have to stay in there afterwards, but that may be a customer specific thing.
It's at the point you can't even get a temporary microwave.
Really?
Yeah, the problem was
they-
earlier that the temporary microwave wasn't available either.
Right.
Well,
So
geez.
do we have, who actually sends out this letter for the buyer to sign? Is that something that the mortgage company does?
Yep, I send it out, and they just basically what we have to have the letter for is saying they're not holding us responsible for there not being a microwave, and that they know they're
Okay.
gonna get their microwave. But I've had a few close that didn't even have a temporary microwave, and it was a struggle. It kind of depends. So they were VA, so it's a little bit easier with VA, which is backwards, I know, than it is with conventional or FHA. So if they don't have a microwave and they don't have a temporary microwave, we'll just look at those each case by case so we can figure out exactly what we need so we can close and make sure there's no issues when we get to closing.
Yeah, I had a VA one that just closed recently without a microwave.
Okay, yeah. And that's what VA is a little more lenient, and they're okay without the temporary microwave. They're okay with it just not having one and just having that letter. So if we do have some, we'll definitely look at each of them before closing, so we don't have issues when we get to closing on, okay, it doesn't have a microwave, what kind of loan is it? What can we do so we make sure it closes? Anything else on that?
No.
So just kind of, yeah, everybody, if you guys have one that you're concerned about, let me know. I will be reaching out to you guys as well, kind of like I have been. I'm just like, hey, does this one have a microwave? Okay, here's what we need to do, or here's where we're at. So I will reach out to you guys as well. I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up. And then the last thing I have, I wanted to, Fannie Mae has changed their rules for power of attorney. And I know some of us have already talked about this, but Fannie Mae will no longer allow you to do a power of attorney for convenience. And what they call convenience may seem like more than just convenience to customers. Like if they're working out of town, that is considered convenience, and Fannie Mae won't allow them to have somebody sign for them power of attorney. So there's very, very limited cases now where power of attorney are accepted. So that's when we would look at, a remote closing or something like that. Any questions on that one?
That's good to know.
Yeah, it's newer, and we haven't run into any issues with it so far, just because it's not super common for people to do, just because to make it convenient. But we have somebody that is working and sometimes they get called away for work, and so they wanted to do it for that situation, but Fannie Mae won't allow that. So it would have to be a remote closing, or they would have to come back into town for closing.
So Fannie Mae, so this is just conventional loans.
So because they kind of are at the forefront and oversee things, they're really making the rule on all loans. If it's not conventional, we will look at it if it's really needed. But they're expecting that, FHA and VA are going to be changing soon too.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if VA did, because if you've got a service member stationed overseas,
and that's different.
the wife's gonna, yeah.
Yeah, that one's still okay because that's not convenience. There's no, it's not like he just doesn't want to come home and sign. He can't. So
Correct.
yeah, so that one will always still be okay. Even if it's a active duty, that's a conventional loan, they're still allowed to get the power of attorney. So
Okay, good. I also heard a rumor that the conventional conforming guidelines the loan limits are increasing. Is that true?
yes, so the loan limits will increase as of January 1st. And so there'll be something, I'll send out something soon on that. But we have, let me make sure. So that the loan limit is going to increase to $625,000 for a conventional, conforming loan without them having to go to jumbo. The high balance limit is $647,000. So if it's in a high balance area, it can go up to $647,000 and be conforming. So those will take effect on January 1st. We don't know what the VA guides, they haven't released them yet on what VA will be. But FHA will be 420,000. So I'll send an email as soon as we get the VA numbers. I'll send an email out to everybody just with a real quick, simple little chart, just to kind of help you guys know, so you know somebody doesn't have to go jumbo.
Hey, Aaron, on the power of attorney deal, what if somebody works in another country?
So that will more likely, that wouldn't be just convenience because they're gone. They're not able to come home. So they don't consider that convenience. But it's, if, you know, they go out of work for, let's say, 2 weeks at a time, they could do a power of attorney here and, you know, because they're here. I mean, I'm sorry, they could do a remote closing because they're here, but they can't do a power of attorney. Now, if they're out of the country, things that are unavoidable that really aren't just convenient, it's hard because that's the word that they gave us to go by is convenience. So we kind of have to decide. But what we'll do, if there is somebody that needs to do power of attorney, we can look at it, send it to management, make sure, you know, hey, they work out of the country, they can't come home. Is this okay? And those are typically fine. Just like if you're active duty and you're not at home.
So who ultimately makes that call of the determination of convenience?
So if it's something that's pretty simple, like again, like active duty, then I would say, yes, that's fine. I can say that. If it's something where I'm not 100% sure that Fannie Mae would be okay with it, then I will send it to our upper management just to say, hey, will you double check the guidelines again for me, make sure this is okay, so we don't have any issues later.
Gotcha. Okay.
So can I just clarify? So either they could, if they're domestic, then they can do a remote closing where we send a traveling signer over there, or they have to actually come in person when they're not working on their 2 weeks or whatever. And then if they're out of the country, then we can do the power of attorney.
Yeah, because that's not just convenient to say, oh, I'm out of the country, I can't come. You know, they're obviously unable to make closing. We can't do a remote closing. So then a power of attorney would be acceptable.
For example, if we have a buyer in Oklahoma that's out of the country, so that would probably be okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No.
Correct.
Don't quit my day job. Okay.
But that is all I had that I just wanted to share with you guys. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Not right now.
All right. Well, you know how to find me if you do.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Aaron, thank you so much. And thanks for all your hard work getting all these December closings done.
We're going to get them all done. Yay.
Good.
All right. Thank you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Aaron. So the conversation for today's general sales meeting, the sales managers got together and we figured it was a really good time here in December to talk about attitude and the importance of being positive based on everything that's been going on for the past couple of years, right? We've got crazy virus stuff. We've got lockdowns, mask mandates, supply chain shortages, you name it, it's been going on, right? So it's really easy for us to feel beat up and beat down. So what I want to try to do today is to try to give a different perspective and to try to help us as a group, as well as individually, maintain the positive attitude that we really need. Now, if we go through life, right, does everybody know what a Karen is? You've heard the term? Right?
Yep.
So there's Karens out there. So did you see what the latest one was? A Sharon? Somebody tell me what a Sharon is. Oh, come on, no one?
That one. That's
Oh,
a new
God,
one.
am I the only one spending too much
You're
time
the
on
We
only
need to
social
one.
hire
media?
some 25-year-olds.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
even know what this means.
Yeah, and Jennifer, I thought for sure you would, and Angela, and maybe Shazana. So it was at Thanksgiving. Somebody named Sharon burnt a Mrs. Cavender's pie or Calendar's pie and wrote a scathing review about the pie burning in the oven, that it was the pie maker's fault. So now there's a Sharon. So after the meeting, you can Google it if you want a good laugh.
Oh my God.
But really, that's kind of where we're at. So, so let's talk about how we, when we talk about positive attitude, and this isn't a lot of this is going to be kind of basic, but it's a good point of topic of discussion anyway. So, if you think it of in terms of if pessimistic thoughts are generally bad, optimistic thoughts are generally good. Hopefully you all agree with that. And honestly, that really is the case. Optimism is a tendency to really expect the best possible outcome despite the circumstances, right? It's you're being hopeful. One of the best theories that I've heard that kind of support this, a number of years ago, I read a book. I know all of you all are like, oh my God, Ken read a book, but yes, I did. It was called The Secret. And in The Secret, they talk about this thing called the law of attraction. Anybody familiar with it? Who's familiar with the law of attraction? Say yes. Raise your hand.
Me.
Yes.
Right. So so the law of attraction really says what you think about, you bring about. And if each and every single one of us were to think about somebody in our lives right now that we would consider to be a Debbie Downer, those people who are out there, they conjure up negative thoughts. So it's like a magnet. If you're walking around as a negative person, negative will find you. It really means that the law of attraction is very interesting. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, I highly recommend the book, The Secret, by the way. So a number of you have had this conversation with me, so I wanted to bring it up in a group setting. So when we're out there, and what we do for a living is really remarkable. We really do help change people's lives for the better. And I know right now, sometimes we feel, oh my God, we don't have microwaves and we can't get paint and all this other stuff that's going on. It is easy for us to go down the road of being that pessimist. But we have to think about it this way. It's going to take us longer to get the homes finished, but we're going to build them a fine Coventry home, and we're going to work hard to make sure that happens. So look at it this way. Many of you have watched that video I sent by Simon Sinek, and it was that he was doing a keynote at a graduation for this group of I think it was actually high school scholars. So in Simon Sinek's deal, he's talking about perspective. So here's his perspective. If we miss a closing date, or if it's taking us too long to build somebody's home, but did you die? I mean, really, it's perspective. If what we do isn't going to cause somebody to die, we're not brain surgeons. We're not performing quadruple bypasses on people. Which is just one way for us to think about it. So when these things float up to our attention, when you get that buyer that's just in there railing on you about this or that or the other thing, you need to keep it in perspective and let them vent. And because you have to understand that they are in this very emotional time. It's emotional anyways, even in a regular market. And you put it on top of COVID and supply chain shortages and oh my God, I can't get toilet paper and all that kind of stuff. People who aren't Karens are becoming Karens. So 2 things. There's this difference between empathy and sympathy, right? So if we're positive on a daily basis, we can be empathetic to our customers' concerns. That is a good thing. Can somebody describe for me what the difference between empathy and sympathy is?
Empathy is you really understand. You understand what they're going through. Sympathy is kind of feeling sorry for them.
Greg, you nailed it, man. That's exactly right. When it's okay, and in a sales environment, it's actually we have to be empathetic to our customers' concerns. But what we don't want to be, if all of a sudden we start being sympathetic, that means we're feeling it for them. We'll never be able to maintain control and composure of the situation, right? A positive attitude is what gives us this ability to help cope through these difficulties on a daily basis, right? We all know those individuals are positive all the time. We also know, like I mentioned earlier, those Debbie Downers that are negative all the time. So our deal is how do the people that we surround ourselves that are positive all the time, how does that make us feel?
More positive.
Right. Those of you who have a significant other or are married, have you ever went home and your significant other's having a bad day, but you had a great day, and you get in there and he or she's having a bad day? What happens to your attitude?
It goes downhill.
Exactly. So we got to, and we'll talk about this in a little bit too. We got to, we have to have that ability to separate from that and not let someone else's attitude bring us down at the same time. So again, I'm going to go back to and refer to the Simon Sinek video, right? So we've got the difference between stepping stones and stumbling blocks, which is what Simon was talking about in the video about the bagel. See the bagel, right? Don't look, the goal, see the bagel. Don't look at the obstacles, the line to get the bagels. We're going to talk about a little bit more of that in a second too. So maintaining that positive attitude, what are the benefits of being in a positive environment, a positive attitude environment? Obviously, we will be more successful. It's that whole law of attraction thing. We will be more happy. Who doesn't want happiness? Raise your hand if you don't want to be happy. Right? But really, if we're positive every day, we're happier every day. We have energy, we have power, we have strength. We have the ability to inspire others, motivate ourselves, motivating others. And when that person comes in, our buyer comes in, and they're just truly, at their wits' end, if we are a positive, if we're that positive pillar for them, we want to rub off on them and help bring them up and not let them take us down. Does that make sense? It will give
I
us
always tell my 21-year-old daughter to be a light and a beacon to other people wherever she goes.
Yes.
It's
contagious, isn't it? Life smiles at you. We will be, if you have that positive attitude, it's perspective, we'll be able to surmount any difficulty. So what we want to do is avoid the slippery slope of negativity. This guy is just sliding down the hill, isn't he? So, okay, Ken, this is fine and dandy. You've been espousing the tenets of being positive. How do I become positive? Well, there's three things that we can do to look at to help make sure that when we're down, we change our attitude, we change our behavior, we change our way of thinking, and all three of those will help us set the change for having that positive attitude that we need every day. Which means, don't be this person. Somebody read that. Come on.
If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Gloom, despair, and agony on me.
Does anybody remember hee-haws, or just me because I'm that old? But think about it. There are those people that if it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. And they are the ones who are unlucky. Don't be this person, right? Your attitude is totally within your control. You can control how you react to any situation. You really have that ability from the inside out.
And sometimes it can be really hard work.
No, not sometimes, Diana. I would tell you it's every time. It's very hard work. But focus on you. Focus on you first. We, as an individual, I'm responsible for who I am. I'm responsible for what I have to do. I am responsible for what I have to do. And again, it goes back to Simon's video on perspective, right? If we put it in the proper perspective, we understand I have this ability to control how I feel. It is difficult, but if the first step to becoming that positive person and maintaining positivity in a negative situation is to take a step back and take a breather and say, okay, I understand what's going on. I'm going to react differently to it, right? It's changing the way you think. Change comes from thinking logically in every situation. Here are some examples. Hey, this is pretty interesting. I refuse to let this hook me. What can I do to diffuse this? My personal favorite. It sucks being him, right? Some of you have often heard me, I really feel really sorry for some of our buyers that just seem to be miserable all the time. And they're out there. I'd really like to beat this or whatever the situation was. And then this one here that says, tomorrow it will look very different. Now that sounds like a line from a musical. Anybody know the musical? It was just on TV the other night. Something like
Annie,
yes,
Annie, tomorrow,
right?
tomorrow.
The sun will be out tomorrow. That's how I tie that in together. So, and then we have behavior, right? When we have that perspective, we have that, we take a step back and we have this ability to react to the situation. We choose the way we react to the situation. We're actually changing our behavior. And that's really a very strong discipline. This is how it works. To be reactive is we got that negative stimulus and we automatically respond. And typically what happens is somebody comes in and they're yelling at us and our blood pressure goes up and we yell right back. Or we could do this. We get this stimulus. We understand, hey, my choice how I respond to this. It's my choice how I feel to this. And then you're thinking about it. Then you choose your response. With a bad attitude, you really can never have a positive day. With a positive attitude, you really can never have a bad day. A positive attitude is like a magnet. Again, there goes that law of attraction for positive results. And I'll end with this. When we're faced with these difficult times and difficult situations, utilize everything we just talked about, being positive. Number first, taking a step back, understanding, being empathetic to our customer, understanding it's I get to choose how I react to a situation. But then I would highly recommend lean on your faith. Lean on your faith in God. He has set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. And if you do that every day, we will get to the point where no matter what happens to us, we're going to be able to react to this situation despite the difficulties. Fair enough?
And we'll close all of our houses in December.
Even the ones that are stage zeros. See, I'm being
Wouldn't that be
positive.
something?
Yeah. All we can do is work on it, right? And it is what it is. And many of you know, because I've been opining about it for a month now, my car literally has been at the dealer for a month, waiting on parts. So I literally could go there and just yell at my service advisor. Would that do any good? Yeah.
No.
Are the parts going to get here any faster? I did get a loaner car, but I didn't yell. You get more flies with honey. I was like, I need some help. What can we do? And so it took a little while, but so it's amazing the power of positive thinking. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer Chambers, Mrs. Chambers, and the marketing report. Hey, Jennifer.
Technical difficulties. Good morning, guys. Let me share my screen here.
Oh, I love your desktop.
All right, I don't have a ton of stuff for you guys today. Just wanted to go over a few things. Last month we talked about office presentations with your realtors that you plan on targeting over the next couple of months. Have you guys scheduled any presentations? I know we're at the end of the year, things are a little bit busy right now, so start reaching out to your offices and maybe get on their calendars for January or February. I mean, you could do December if you wanted to, but it might be, agents might be out of town, that kind of stuff. But I would start reaching out now, getting on their calendars, seeing what they have available in person or via Zoom, and start getting in front of them for 2022. This is kind of the stuff we've gone over the past couple of months. Today, we're going to talk about the low pressure meetups, building your email distribution list, and regular updates. So when you meet realtors for the first time, offer to meet up with them in a low pressure environment, keeping it short, less than 30 minutes, respecting their time. A lot of the agents are really busy, just like you guys are. And it's also seen as less of a risk of being sold. Meet up in a neutral location that's convenient for them, like a coffee shop, or I've seen some in other metros taking a realtor for a mani-pedi something that'll just be fun where you can kind of focus on the relationship and not the sale. You guys can talk about, how long y'all have been in the industry, what current challenges you guys are facing. Talk about their hobbies and their family. It doesn't always have to be about the sale. It's about building that relationship. So when you do have something come available, they do think of you, or you can reach out and say, hey, do you have a client that might be good for whatever it is that you might have. Building your email distribution list. Whenever you guys have a client come in, if they come in with a realtor, make sure you're entering these on MHI Online. Also, if you do any outreach events that are on the calendar, you can add these agents to that outreach activity, and I'll send you the instructions on how to do this after the GSM. But make sure you're adding these in MHI Online. That way you're building that distribution list, so you can reach out to them, either weekly or monthly with just general updates about the community, anything going on with Coventry, any promotions, specials that you guys have it going on. That's good stuff to send to them. What we just talked about, providing regular updates. You can talk about any new store openings, community events coming up, any new amenities or sections that you guys might be getting soon, new schools, any promotions, inventory, floor plans, or new models. You can update them literally on anything about your community, or even if it's just to say hi. It's good to have that email distribution list. And of course, if you guys are interested in getting your social media started or help with any postings or any of that, just let me know. I'm here to help. That's all I have. Ken, you're muted.
Oh, thank you. Any questions for Jennifer?
Yeah, I was thinking about having Santa come in pictures with Santa. Is that something we can do in the model?
We can, but it might be a little too late now. I can reach out to the company, but being that it's so close to Christmas, it might be a little too late, but I can reach out for you.
I
If
mean,
you're
what
lucky,
a company.
maybe Jesse will dress up as
I know a Santa. I know a Santa and a photographer.
Yeah, we can look into that.
Okay.
Anything else with Jennifer? All righty, we're going to move on over to the ISAs. Angela, good morning. Thanks for joining us all the way from Austin, ATX.
Good. Yes, good morning, everyone. I will share my screen. Okay. Can everyone see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So for the IS review for November, we did schedule a total of 33 appointments. 30 out of those appointments were confirmed. We had 7 sales. And so we wanted to give a few shout outs to Sarah, Diana, Carol, Richard, AKA Rick, Shauna, and Sandy. So good job, guys, for those sales. So we will be, I don't know when we'll start this process, but we will start using a program called Calendly to set appointments. And so I'll read the bullet points on that. I won't read the first one because starting soon we will be using Calendly. So using Calendly will help streamline the appointment process even more so. Calendly will pull from Outlook. So it's super important that your calendar is up to date. When using Calendly, the ISA will choose an available time and date. Once the appointment is scheduled, you will receive a notification as well as the lead. And the great thing is the lead will also receive email and text notifications prior to the appointment. And then please note, if Calendly does show you available and you are not, it is going to be your responsibility to reschedule the appointment with that lead. And I did include what it looks like on our end when scheduling an appointment. And I don't know for you ladies and maybe some even guys, it kind of looks like when you're trying to schedule, like said, to get your hair cut. I know a lot of times you can choose like the date and the time so that the stylist is available. So that's how it kind of looks like on our end. This would be to the left, the calendar. And then once we click on a date, we would see all the available times that you would be available. I don't know when we're going to launch this, but just get in good practice with keeping your Outlook calendars up to date, because like I said, it will pull from that. Does anyone have any questions about Calendly? No? Oh.
Yeah, just so you know, I signed up for it. It's a really easy, intuitive tool. The basic, once the ISA send you the invite to join your Outlook calendar, the rest of it is really just maintaining your Outlook calendar. So I would highly suggest going in like a month at a time, blocking out your days off.
Right.
Just do the whole day, right? Block it off, and then just keep it updated. You know, if you want to do it look at it on a weekly basis, but then also every day, just go in there for the next 7 days out and just keep yourself updated. It's a really good way just to keep yourself organized anyways, but this will make the appointment setting easier for both the ISAs and for you to avoid any kind of overbooking. And we see the internet side of the lead business just really maintaining its strong nature, you know, from this point forward. Everybody's looking online. So
it is super easy. Even I would say that, just to pull Calendly up and just say, okay, well, you know, Sarah is available Friday at 3 p.m. and then just, you know, click on it, and I can actually send them the notifications, you know, just type in their information as we're speaking and they'll receive the notifications. And actually the notification looks like it's coming from you. So it may say like, hi, Kathy, this is Sarah with Coventry Homes. I look forward to meeting you on this date and time. Here's my phone number. So it is really nice and it's super streamlined. We really enjoy it. So just keep those calendars up to date.
Hey, Angela, real quick, I've used Calendly in the past, and I think there's a way to like set at least some sort of buffer between how soon somebody could set an appointment. Is that something that we have set by default? And like, do you know how long it is? Like, is that 30-minute block, hour?
Sure. So are you asking like how long are the blocks for the appointments?
More so, how far ahead in advance do we know?
Can make it to where it is same day appointments. We do try to check with y'all. For example, if someone wants to come in within the next 2 hours, we're going to reach out to you. We may check Calendly like, okay, well, he's, you know, showing availability at 2 o'clock, but I would still, as a courtesy, make sure like, hey, you are available because Calendly is showing this. Because I know things come in last minute, you know, or maybe you haven't had the opportunity that morning to update everything, but we will still reach out to you to make sure that it's okay.
Yeah, Jonathan, that's a great question. And my total expectation is if it's the same day hotshot appointment, the ISAs are going to reach out directly, not just rely on Calendly and the Outlook calendar.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then Angela, I was actually thought I was going down the same path as you, Jonathan, and then you split off at the last minute. But Angela, if are you guys able to set the appointment length, such as like 2 hours or an hour?
Yes, that's already a default. So an in-person appointment is going to be set for 2 hours. And then a phone appointment, I believe, is either like an hour or an hour and a half, but that also gives you time to wrap up everything. So if there's anything you need to update in MHI, you have the time to do it. So then it's not like you're getting an ISA let's say I'm not scheduling you for an in-person at 10:30 and then Candle scheduling one for 11:30. They will be in 2 hour or 1 hour increments.
Cool.
Any more questions? Okay. So this last slide is a little fun once I click on the video. So enough business talk, enjoy the funny video and the importance of updating MHI for your ISAs, as because this can also relate to your calendars, kind of like if it's not an MHI or if it's not on your calendar, it didn't happen. And I do look forward to seeing everyone next year, but here is the video. Hope y'all can all hear it. break up.
There's no sound, Angela. Angela, when you share your screen, you have to click the little box that says audio.
Okay.
See, Doc, that's what I'm talking about. Disrespect. Don't appreciate organization.
Doc, I'm great at selling,
She at the top.
but I need some space so I can do it my way.
Your way. Pen and post-it notes.
My system worked.
Spreadsheets?
Yeah, and privacy.
If CRM don't know about it,
Then it don't exist.
I sound like that.
Yes. I'm only with you because I'm forced to be.
Okay. Time's up.
What? But what are we supposed to do?
Use Sales Mesh. Okay?
Ignore the
Next.
Move.
bitch. Anyways, so like I said, make sure to update MHI. You can ignore the ad, but we just thought it was a fun little video about updating everything. That's all I have.
Excellent. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Up next, we're going to go to Ryan for the division president's report. Hey, Ryan.
Hello. I don't really have much today other than just following up with closings for the rest of the year. You may see me out more often because basically for the rest of the month, I'm going to be out walking houses with the PMs and CMs most likely. Sounds like as of right now, the CMs are confident that we can get the houses on our list closed. That may take, one of the things I talked about in the past with sales counselors and CMs is that if you have buyers that you know are on the list to close this month, who are coming out with some amount of regularity, to basically just ask them, you'll still do a sales walk, there'll still be a buyer's intro, but try to set the expectation that if they come out to give you a list of anything that they've seen other than paint and clean items, with the expectation that when they do the actual buyer intro, especially the ones that you think are going to be tight, that we're not going to have a lot of time to get non-paint and clean items taken care of. So we need to get on those quickly. I'm sure that your CMs may already be aware of it, but it's a good idea for December closings just to have them go through one weekend, maybe this weekend, and take a look at it and send an email with anything that they're concerned about that's not been taken care of as of yet. And then I'll get with the project managers, but if you would remind your CMs also, one thing we did in Austin for the last few years was to get the houses on the year-end closing list cleaned every Friday. Just a rough clean basically, because for the buyers that I'm assuming come out over the weekend, if they walk into a clean house, even though there are obvious things that need to be taken care of, their anxiety level about this house being ready for me to close in 2 to 3 weeks is vastly reduced. If they walk into a house and it's dirty and there's obvious things to get taken care of, for some reason not for some reason, it's pretty obvious, but if it's clean, that anxiety level goes down even when there are a bunch of things that have to take care of. So if you would remind your CMs of that, I'll get with the PMs to cover the same thing. Other than that, I really appreciate everybody's work this year for my first year in the position. Obviously, I didn't get out to the field as much as I'd like this year, but I plan on seeing you all more next year. And thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Ryan. Couple quick things. I sent out an email on November 30th as it was talking about closings for December. So I just want to hit a couple things just to make sure. We want to make sure that from the sales operation side that we don't miss anything. So if we roll a closing, it's going to be because the house didn't get ready, not because we forgot to order a save or forgot to check on a survey, forgot to double check with the mortgage company that the loan type is right. So it's important that we use that procedures to set closings. Make sure on VA loans that you've left at least $750 in closing costs. They can't put it all towards options and they can't put it all towards price reduction. You have to leave $750 in closing costs to cover the VA non-allowable expenses. If a realtor changes offices, you have to have that form filled out from the original broker. And if the real estate agent wants to give up some of their commission, that's fine. But the agent and the broker will have to sign that modification or referral fee. That all should be done by now. Don't wait until the day before closing for that to happen, because all you're going to do is struggle the MHI closing department, because basically it's Robin and a couple backups doing the whole company. So we want to make sure from our end of it, we've got all of our I's dotted and our T's crossed.
Can I ask a question about that realtor commission modification thing?
Yes.
Can the realtor do it on their end with their broker? I mean, can they get paid the full 3% and then their broker issue a DA that's, that modifies that or gives it back to the buyer?
They're not going to do that because the buyer can't receive any money because they're not licensed.
Oh.
Now,
Okay.
do realtors do that sometimes, Diana? Yes, but
Yeah.
it's against the law. They can lose their license. And they're
Okay.
paying taxes on it. So the way we've
Okay.
got it set up is the best way to do it, to where we'll put it's in contract, because they have to disclose all that to the mortgage company anyways.
Yeah.
So the way we've got that form signed out is actually, it's more beneficial for our buyer because it's guaranteed that they're getting that money from the agent. But it's actually more beneficial to the agent because they're not paying taxes on it. And, it's from the whole standpoint for the mortgage company needs to know about any and all incentives. And that's under the table if it happens outside of closing.
Oh.
So good question. All right, team, let me wrap it up.
I can.
Yes.
1 second. Summer asked me to reinforce the 21-day rule for DC. She said she's been seeing a lot of requests come across for end of the month and into January. And then she looks like the bad guy with the buyer. So just make sure you're prepping everybody for the fact that she's got to get everybody through within 21 days.
Oh, perfect. And I bet you she'd be really looking forward to coming back to work downstairs when that's done. I don't know if y'all have seen it downstairs right now. It looks like a construction zone. Crazy stuff. So I always go into the motivational message. We did the whole positive thinking, but I did want this for you to see the bagels.
In Central Park, the New York Roadrunners Association hosts races on the weekends. And one weekend, I ran a race with one of my friends. And at the end of the race, which they sometimes did, they had a sponsor who would give away something, apples or bagels or whatever it was. And on this particular day, they were giving away free bagels. So we'd finished the race, and you sort of can imagine the scene. It was cafeteria tables lined up next to each other with boxes of bagels across the cafeteria tables, a line of volunteers on one side of the table, and a much longer line of runners hoping to get a free bagel. So I said to my friend, let's get a bagel. And he looked at me and he said, nah, man, the line's too long. And I looked at him and I said, it's a free bagel. And he said, I don't want to stand in line. And I looked at him again. I said, free bagel. And that's when I realized there's two ways you can see the world. You can see the thing that you want, or you can see the thing that's standing in the way of the thing that you want. I could only see the bagels, and he could only see the line. And people who can see the bagel, people who can see the thing that they want, the things that are getting in the way are actually diminished in size. They're just obstacles to go over or around. It's an opportunity for invention or innovation. Whereas people who can only see the obstacle and literally lose sight of why they set out on the journey in the first place, they become stunted by fear or overwhelmed by the challenge ahead of them. So advice that I learned, see the bagel.
So with that, I have my styrofoam cup, and those of you who watched the full video know what that means. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great week, a great rest of the month. Have a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and happy holidays to each and every one of you. We'll catch you next year at the next general sales meeting. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Styrofoam cup is disappearing.